When you have two brackets written right next to each other, and the question may say expand the brackets or multiply out the brackets or remove the brackets, these two things are being multiplied by each other. The x plus 2 is being multiplied by the x plus 3. Now you have to deal with each bit by bit. There are two ways of laying, well, there are two main ways of laying this out. First way is by doing the x times by the x. You actually draw that line in to show what you're doing. X times by the x, basically the first thing in that bracket times the first thing in that bracket. X times by x is x squared. Then the x has to be times by the other thing, the plus 3. And x times by plus 3 is plus 3x. Now when you've had two lines coming out of here, it means this has been times by everything in this bracket. So now I move on to the plus 2. I'm going to times the plus 2 by the x. Plus 2 times by x gives me plus 2x. Now I've got to multiply these two bits together, the plus 2 and the plus 3. Remember, we are timesing. Plus 2 and plus 3 times together to give you plus 6. These bits here you can combine. 3x and 2x is 5x. So a final answer to this question is x squared plus 5x plus 6. There's another way of laying it out which some people prefer, and that's to do it like this. The first bracket has an x and a plus 2. The second bracket has an x and a plus 3. And what we're doing is we're drawing it out in a two-way table. We had an x and a plus 2 and an x and a plus 3. So here we are, x and plus 2, x and plus 3. And now we times each bit together. We fill each of these four gaps. So here we do x times by x, which is x squared. Here I do x times by plus 2, which is plus 2x. Here I do plus 3 times by x, which is plus 3x. And here I do plus 3 times by plus 2, which is plus 6. Then everything inside my table, so everything in this box, is my answer. Now some of the bits I can combine together. The plus 2x and the plus 3x make plus 5x. So my answer is that x squared, those two bits join together to make plus 5x, and that plus 6. So let's look at another example. X takes 7 multiplied by x add 10. We'll do it both ways. First way with the curly lines. X times by x is x squared. The x has to be times by the plus 10. That's plus 10x. The minus 7 has to be times by the x. That's minus 7x. And the minus 7 has to be times by the plus 10. That's minus 70. These bits here you can combine together. If you had 10x and you take 7x away, you're left with 3x. So it's x squared plus 3x, take away 70. If you're doing this question the other way, if you set your table up, the first bracket has an x and a minus 7. The second bracket has an x and a plus 10. And we are timesing together. X times by x is x squared. X times by minus 7 is minus 7x. Plus 10 times by x is plus 10x. Plus 10 times by minus 7 is minus 70. And those two bits there we can combine together because they're both x bits. So my answer are x squared. Together, 10x minus 7x is plus 3x, and I've got the minus 70, which is the same answer as I had in the last one. So you can do these in either way. This way uses less ink, and if you're happy with the top way, that's fine, you can carry on with that way. So, we look at a few more, and I'll make them slightly harder as we go. If we have 2x take away 7, multiplied by x take away 4. We need to times this bit by that bit. 2x times by x is 2x squared. We also need to times that bit by that bit. 2x times by negative 4 is negative 8x. Now we move on to here. Minus 7 times by x is minus 7x. And the minus 7 has to be times by the minus 4. And the minus make a plus. The 7 fours are 28. These bits here we can combine together. We've got negative 8x to start with. and we're taking away 7 more. Now think of that as a temperature. You had -8 and you're going down another 7. It's getting even colder. Those two bits together give you -15x. So our answer is 2x squared minus 15x plus 28. Look at another one. We look at 3x minus 7 times by 4y minus 1. First thing we do, we multiply these together. 3x times by 4y. 3 times by 4 is 12. X times by y is xy. I just have to leave it like that. 3x has to be times by the -1. It's minus 3x. The -7 has to be times by the 4y. That's minus 28y. The -7 has to be times by the -1. The minus times a minus makes a plus. That's plus 7. In this one you can't combine these bits together because that's xy's, that's x's, that's y's, that's numbers. So you can't actually combine any of those bits together. Let's have a look at one final example for now. 4x minus 7, 4x plus 7. The 4x and the 4x have to be multiplied together. 4 4s are 16, and x times by x is x squared. We multiply these bits together. The 4x and the plus 7. That's plus 28x. Then we do these two. -7 times by 4x is minus 28x. -7 and plus 7, we're timesing them together. A minus and a plus gives you a minus when you multiply. 7 7s are 49. These bits we can combine together. A plus 28 and a minus 28, they will disappear. We've got no x's left at all. So it's 16x squared minus 49. Now this disappearing bit in the middle will happen when these brackets are identical to each other. One has a plus sign and one has a minus sign. So here, plus sign here and a minus sign here. Apart from that, they're identical. That disappearing thing will happen when that happens. You also need to be aware that if you see something like 3x minus 2 with a squared sign there, the square sign means you multiply it by itself. So that just means the 3x minus 2 is multiplied by itself. So it means this, 3x minus 2 times 3x minus 2. Just what we've been doing. So if we multiply this out, 3x times by the 3x, 3 3s are 9, and x times x is 9 squared. So it is x squared, so we get 9x squared. 3x times by minus 2, minus 6x. Minus 2 times by 3x, minus 6x again. Minus 2 times by minus 2, 2 minuses make a plus, so that's plus 4. These bits we can combine together. They're both negative. We started with minus 6, we're minusing another 6. That's going to get down to minus 12x, and then we have the plus 4 on the end.